LPG. After 1991 देखो देखो LPG, urbanization has emerged so much in India.
comma, which improves the and the cost supply chain management. Better SCM, which improves the okay. So this is what so supply chain management means proper यहाँ से वहां तक पहुंचाना and then यहाँ से able to pay to profitability for the consumer. Agriculture. So I'm just giving the basic difference also. Policy and public finance. फिस्कल पॉलिसी. अब इसमें जो मेंस के कुछ और टॉपिक्स हैं, आई विल गिव यू द हैंडआउट्स. सो एक चैप्टर पे मूव करते हैं. फिस्कल पॉलिसी लिखो. फिस्कल पॉलिसी दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर एज फार एज प्रीलिम्स इज कंसर्न एंड मेंस इज कंसर्न. फिस्कल पॉलिसी इन इंडिया. Fiscal policy in India. Okay. Fiscal policy in India. Okay. It is another name which is called public finance. Public finance. So let's decode this topic. What is fiscal policy and what is public finance? Fiscal policy. You know, what is policy? Policy is something when there is a challenge. To mitigate the challenge, government made policies. And policy does not concern only in present, but policy focuses future also. Okay, suppose we do have a trade deficit, so we made trade policy. Getting a point? Any policy. So I'm just giving the basic difference between policy and plan. So what is the basic difference between three words? Policy, plan, programs and missions. These are the 3 to 4 words which you must have heard about it. So there is certain differences about it. If you're talking about policy, so wherever there is policy, it means policy making it finding out the what? The solution of any challenge. Is there any? Suppose, have you heard population policy? Why? Population is a challenge. Population growth is a challenge. Okay. Have you heard monetary policy? Why? Because inflation is a challenge. Getting a point? So we're talking about fiscal policy. Because government faces deficit. This is called fiscal deficit. To minimize fiscal deficit, government made policy, which is called fiscal policy. So what is a policy? Whenever the policy, it means there is a challenge. And policy mitigate not the current situation of the challenge, it talks about futures also. And each policy has certain targets also. The policy is created with certain targets. Like I'm making this policy, and by the end of this year, I have to achieve this. By the end of this year, I have to achieve that. Tourism policy. So tourism policy means that by the end of 2030, we have to attract this much tourists to in India. Food processing policy or manufacturing policy. E-vehicles manufacturing policy. Have you heard it? So e-vehicles manufacturing policy, it means that we make a kind of policy that we will create this much, this, how many e-vehicles we will create by the end of this year. This is what? Food processing, it's what? Anything, policies. But we just wild about it. And what is plan? To implement the objective of these policy, make plans and programs. Getting my point? And what is mission? Mission is something that is certain line, and you have to put all the, all the efforts to achieve it, which is called mission. National Horticulture Mission. National Horticulture Mission also is a part of food processing industry, because horticulture products are the raw material for food processing industry. So National Horticulture Mission says that by the end of this year, we have to produce this much horticulture products. This is what? What is mission mode? Mission means that you are putting your all effort. This abhi aap bahut regular padh rahe ho. But when there is exam in 10 days only, 4 days only, your study goes on mission mode. No. अब time खत्म नहीं करना है. पूरा का पूरा अपना क्या जो capabilities है उसको झोंक देनी है. This is what the mission mode. Is it okay? So let's see fiscal policy. इसको मैं हिंदी से थोड़ा समझाता हूँ. Fiscal policy. It Hindi it is known as राजकोषीय नीति. Just break it. राजा का कोष. Just come to English. King's Fund, na? King's Fund. Fund means a kind of collection of money. Getting my point? Kings. But in India there is democracy. There is no king. So who is king? Who is Raja in India? We can say government. Yes or no? So what is government funds? Is consolidated. Have you heard consolidated fund? Article 266(1). Consolidate. A kind of policy which is related to consolidated fund of India. What is consolidated fund? Consolidated fund is a kind of fund in which all the incomes of the government is being kept. This is called consolidated fund. It is taken care by President of India, and without parliamentary proceeding you cannot withdraw a single penny from consolidated fund of India. You have to go to the consolidated. So this is what? You can say it's a kind of government's bowl. All the incomes of the governments come up here and it is being stored there. So when you're talking about consolidated fund, you should also know there are two another funds, which is called contingency funds and public account. Public account of the India. So consolidated fund is which holds maximum money of the government. Contingency fund is a kind of for emergency needs. Suppose there is a flood going on in Punjab. So Punjab need money and center will have to support to the Punjab. So if there is no any contingency fund, so the whole government will have to call the parliament's meeting. Then there will be discussion. Then money will be withdrawn from the consolidated fund from the Punjab. So इतने में तो बाढ़ आके चली भी जाएगी और ऐसा जरूरी नहीं हमेशा पार्लियामेंट सेशन होगी. Getting my point? So for emergency uses, there is a fund which is called contingency fund. It is taken care by the finance secretary, but it is money withdrawn by the signature of President of India. And there is another account which is called public account of the government. From this account, government utilize its daily need, expenses, daily need expenses, like this is called public account. Getting my point? So, but we talk about consolidated fund. So, consolidated fund is a kind of fund where all the incomes of government is being kept. So, what are the source of income? Government maximum, tax. Getting my, and do you think government's income is tax? So government has expenditure also. So from where money will go? This way. So consolidated fund is a fund from where government's money is being kept and for where withdrawal happened for the expenditure of the government. This is what. So this is a kind of policy, consolidated fund. Okay? So it's a fiscal policy is a policy which deals with government's income and what? Expenditure. Okay. and there is a kind of documented explanation of the government income and expenditure, that is called budget. You know what is budget? So budget includes two things or three things. This is called income, expenditures, and one more thing is deficit. Deficit, when deficit will happen? When expenditure is more than its income, and then is a deficit. So देखो, in every budget there is a income details, expenditure details, deficit details. Is it okay? So fiscal policy deal with three things. What? Government's income, expenditures, and government's deficits. ये तीन चीज हम पढ़ने वाले. So it is very clear in this chapter we will study to government's income, expenditures, its types, and budget and economic survey. ठीक है? Next, the same thing is what is public finance? Just decode it also. इसको हमने डिकोड किया तो हमने पाया भाई ये इनकम, एक्सपेंडिचर और बजट की बात, डेफिसिट की बात करता है. What is public finance? Just elaborate it. Public means people. And what is finance? I've told you. What is the meaning of finance? Management of money. Managing money. Managing money. Is it okay? How? Just listen to me. Management of money. Two things. By the public, by the people, and for the people. So by the people, any money generated by the people, what is this is called? Tax. Again, government's income. For the people, उसी पैसे को लोगों को क्या देगा? Expenditure of the people. Getting my point? And this is management of the money. For whom? Public. That is why it is called public finance. Again, public finance chapter deal with income of the government, expenditure of the government, and country like India, income will be low and expenditure will be always high. Why? 80% population is liability to the government. So definitely there will be what? Deficit. So deficits. So do you understand what is public finance? By the public, yani from the public as a form of taxes, and for the public as a form of subsidy. So taxes is a part of income of the government, and what? Subsidy is a part of expenditure of the government. So it is very clear, fiscal policy or public finance chapter, we deal with government's income, expenditure, and what? Government's deficits. Okay. So let's talk about income. पहले income की बात करें, फिर लिखा दूंगा. Income. Income has two parts. You can say good income and bad income. Okay? Good income and bad income. Is it okay? Let's see. So I'll talk about later about the government. Just understand it about income and expenditure. Our expenditure has also two parts, good and bad. Let's focus on income. मानो सगुन ना, suppose सगुन को example लेते हैं. Suppose I am writing a book about economy, okay, and I need a person who can assist me on data analysis and collection of data. So I have hired Sagun, okay. So I have hired Sagun for this purpose, and I have fixed her salary 50,000. Is it enough? ठीक है? Hello? Good. So 50,000 is good with her. Okay. So after completing her task, she get how much rupees? 50,000. So do you think it's Sagun's good income or bad income? Good income. It's a why good income? Because Sagun need not to repay me. Need not to है ना? मैं मांगूंगा तो क्या शगुन दे देंगे वापस? क्या शगुन समझिए सर आप ही ने पढ़ाया है, इट्स अ फैक्टर इनकम. What is income? Why factor income? Because yes, she has given her labor, she has given it land labor, no labor, she has given her services, so for the cause of this I have paid it, so it's a factor income. So whenever you getting factor income, will you return to your owner? Never, no. Okay, it's a good income. Factor. Does it create any liability on you, Sagun? No liability. And one more thing, no loss of asset. क्या सगुन ने इसका कुछ अपना बेचा इसके लिए? कोई एसेट का लॉस हुआ? नहीं ना. So that's why it is good income. Do you know what is the nature of good income? No liability. It means no need to return it. And no asset loss. So it's completely 50,000 Sargun's income. And government पे समझेंगे इसको, but personal level पे समझना बहुत important है. Is it okay? Second thing is that, suppose after 1 week, Sagun came again to my place and says, sir, I need 1 lakh rupees more. So मैंने किस बात की? I have given already 50,000 rupees, which was your salary. Why you are asking again? Sir, please, just give it to me. I am much needed and I take it as a borrowings. तो मैंने कहा okay, if you want to borrow money, that is okay, and I will take on high interest rate. It will be dear money to you. So suppose I have given 1 lakh rupees to her. How much? 1 lakh rupees as a what? Lending, as a borrowings. Is it okay? And its rate of interest is 20%. So do you think it's Sagun's income? No. If you consider it, it's a kind of receipt now. It is not income because it is not a factor income. Is it okay? It's a receipt. And is it a good income or bad income? Bad income. Why? Because it generates liability. Is it clear? So borrowing to someone is not a good income and never consider it as a income. मान लो 1 लाख किसी से ले लिया, अगर हमारे पास पैसा बहुत बड़ा है, वो मीम आता था ना, मेरे पास पैसे की कमी नहीं है, मैं किसी से भी उधार ले लूंगा. Getting my point? So it's a bad income. अब देखो एक हफ्ते बाद फिर आ गई शगुन कि सर 30,000 और चाहिए. मैंने आप तो दे दिया, उधार भी दे दिया, अब क्या चाहिए? वाई बोला सर नहीं बहुत जरूरत है सर. सो अगेन सी गेट 30,000 बट राइट नाउ इट इज नॉट बोरोइंग. मैंने सगुन से पूछा कैसे आई हो? बोला सर स्कूटी से. तो मैंने कहा छोड़ के जाना, ठीक है, क्योंकि अब स्कूटी का ओनरशिप ट्रांसफर हो गया out of 30 rupees just because of 30 rupees. Is it okay? So it's Shagun get again 30 rupees, but it's an asset loss, no? It's not borrowing, it's a asset loss. It's not debt, but asset loss has happened. His scooty is no more with Shagun. Is it okay? So does it good income or bad income? Bad income. So bad income has two qualities. Either it happens due to asset loss or it generates liabilities. Getting my point? अब क्या ये 30,000 मुझे लौटाना तो नहीं है, so that's why I'm not saying it's a debt. It's a non-debt. It's a non-debt receipt. We can say it non-debt receipts. Yeah, non-debt receiving. Is it okay? Good. And 1 lakh is our borrowing. So now just give a name. This income name as revenue income. In government sense, revenue income. And this income name as a capital income. So revenue income is a good income of the government because it does not generate liability to the government and it does not, and government need not to lose its assets. This is good income. For example, tax. क्या tax देके वापस मांग लेते हो? या government के ऊपर liability हो जाती है क्या? So tax is a good income, okay, for the government. And here capital income is a bad income. Why? It generates liability like T-bills. If you purchase government T-bills, so your asset and government's liability. Government will have to pay on its maturity. If you purchase government's bond, after a certain period of time, it is your asset. Government's, is it okay? So government's bad income because government have to repay. Another thing, asset loss. Have you heard disinvestment or privatization? So if government has sold out Air India to Tata, so suppose government has earned 500 crore rupees. So it's a government's what? Non-debt receipt. and that is called disinvestment. Getting your point? Because government is losing its asset here. क्या income समझ में आया? Good income and bad income. Do you know what is revenue income? Revenue income and what is capital income? I will go in detail, but इससे थोड़ा सा link लेके समझ में आया होगा कि how it is handled. Good income and bad income. अब यहाँ पे चलो good expenditure और bad expenditure भी होता है. So total income इनके पास कितना है? 1,80,000 I think ना, जिसमें इनका अच्छा वाला कितना है? 50,000. 1 लाख तो बिग ये नुकसान है इनका, और 30,000 अपना एसेट लॉस करके, ये इनकी टोटल इनकम है. गेटिंग पॉइंट? अब इनको एक्सपेंडिचर करना है. सो एक होता है गुड एक्सपेंडिचर और बैड एक्सपेंडिचर. सो रेवेन्यू, तो इट हैज टू पार्ट आल्सो. बैड एक्सपेंडिचर इज नोन एज रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर. जो यहाँ गुड है वो यहाँ बैड हो जाता है, जो यहाँ बैड है वो यहाँ क्या हो जाता है? गुड हो जाता है. तो रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर, सपोज क्या करोगे, 1 लाख रुपए का लेकर क्या करती है, इन्होंने अपने मेड की सैलरी दे दी, हनुमान धाम पे जाके पैसा लुटा दिया, ठीक है, कुछ गरीबों को खिला दिया, लाइक दिस. ओके, मौसी की लड़की थी उसको भी दे दिया 20,000, ले जाओ. दीज आर द बैड इनकम. वाई? बैड एक्सपेंडिचर. वाई? इससे बताओ इनकी क्या उधारी खत्म हो जाएगी? मैं मांगूंगा पैसा तो डस विल से दैट सर आपका पैसा था सर, मैं दे दी है ना, गरीबों में बांट दी सर. तो मैंने कहा बांट दी, तुम जानो. फिर उन्होंने कहा सर मैंने बर्थडे मना लिया, ठीक है. तो मैंने कहा भाई ऐसा इससे लायबिलिटी खत्म नहीं होती है. गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? सो रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर इज अ बैड एक्सपेंडिचर. गवर्नमेंट क्या करती है? बोरोइंग्स कर ली, सैलरी दे दी, पेंशन दे दी, सब्सिडी दे दिया, ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला. These are the revenue expenditures. It's a bad expenditures because it is not ending the liabilities. Second, it is not ending the liabilities, and second thing, it does not create any asset. लेकिन गुड एसेट क्या एक्सपेंडिचर हुआ? ये पैसा लेके गई, मुझसे 20% पे इंटरेस्ट लिया था, किसी को 50% पे चिपका दिया. बोलो, she has borrowed from me and again lended to someone else with high interest rates. In this process she generate asset or not? Yes. Asset generation किया कि नहीं? So it's a good expenditure. This is called capital expenditure. Capital expenditure, expenditure by which government generates assets. Asset creation happens. Okay, this is a good expenditure. थोड़ा सा हम इसको समझेंगे एक चीज को लेकर के. क्या इनकम और एक्सपेंडिचर समझ में आया? जस्ट राइट डाउन. फिस्कल पॉलिसी. व्हाट इज फिस्कल पॉलिसी? देखो, फिस्कल पॉलिसी इज अ काइंड ऑफ पॉलिसी which shows government strategy to manage its income, bracket में लिखो revenue, and expenditure to influence country's economic conditions, especially the strategy to manage its income, bracket में लिखो revenue, and expenditure to influence country's economic conditions, especially growth, employment, and inflation. Underline it. Paragin, fiscal policy contain employment and inflation. Underline it. Paragin, fiscal policy contains three things: government's income, government expenditure, and government deficit. Government's income, government's expenditure and government's deficit and government's deficit. And government's deficit. Okay. Just see these three things: income and expenditure. इसको गवर्नमेंट मैनेज करती है, क्या इन्फ्लुएंस करने के लिए? ग्रोथ, एम्प्लॉयमेंट and inflation. Is it okay? Just see this. If government increases its expenditures, suppose, if government, because you have to understand the line now. If government increases the expenditure, it means government is pumping more money in the economy. For example, making more infrastructure, roads, providing money for Manrega, like other schemes. Is it okay? So does it generate employment? Hello? Government is increasing its expenditure, so definitely it will generate what? More employment in the country. So for employment generation, government makes fiscal policy. Is it clear? So government make fiscal policy. These are conceptual things for employment generation. Okay, next. If government if government more expenditure, definitely it will enhance what? Investment in the economy. Money supply will increase, investment in the economy, then capital formation in the economy, then growth in the economy. Okay. So government expenditure increases economic growth in the economy. Same thing happens after COVID-19. According to helicopter drop money, government had dropped so much money in the economy for economic revival, for V-shaped recovery. Is it okay? Government head does this. So for the cause of economic, what is this policy? Fiscal policy, government also revive the economy's economic growth. And third is inflation. Okay, inflation. So how government reduces inflation? Okay, just see this. And how government does this? Dekho. At the income level, dekho, government has just left out almost 60,000 from each family by making a mark 12 lakh annual income exemption in income tax. So what will happen? This 60,000 will be invested in the economy. Again, it will boost the economy. This is what? Reducing its income by providing exemption to the people. It is also a part of fiscal policy. Getting my point? So fiscal policy has two things, either income or expenditure. And this is the latest example of it. It also reduces the inflation also. For example, have you heard next generation tax reform? Next generation tax reform in GST. Just it has been happened just 2 days before. What has happened over there? Just see how it inflation. Have you seen this what? Market price is equal to factor plus indirect tax minus subsidy. Getting my point? So what is this? Indirect tax, GST. Okay? Our government has minimized it, reform. So if GST will be down, so MRP or market price will be down. Inflation will be down. Getting my point? So this is how government is doing these kind of fiscal policy reform to minimize inflation, to reduce inflation. Why government does this? Just current से जोड़िए. हुआ क्या? Just before, what has happened? Before last year what has happened? It was 8 to 9 months before. In report of NSO, Indian economy was shown the condition of slowdown. Our economic growth was become 5.1%. And why it was happening? Because last 2 years, RBI Governor Shaktikant Das has not reduced repo rate. He was stagnant on it. And just because of it, the economic survival was very tough. and the industry ministry Piyush Goyal was requesting him, please reduce it, minimize the repo rate, because investors wants easy loan, and just because of high interest rate they are not investing it, and it is hampering the growth rate of the country, and country is just showing the symptoms of slowdown. This is not good for it. So pressure bana, and Shaktikant Das has resigned it. Now Sanjay Malhotra come up, and with there are 4 meeting has happened when Sanjay Malhotra has become the what? When Sanjay Malhotra has become the RBI governor, 4 meetings has happened over there. The first meeting was happened, ठीक है? Then he has reduced 25 basis points of repo rate. In second meeting after 2 months, he has reduced 25 basis point of repo rate. And in third meeting, he has reduced 50 basis point of the repo rate. So within 6 months, 1% repo rate has been reduced. Okay, basis point means percentage. I have told you. 100 basis point means 1%. Okay. And what has happened? Just day before start day, what has happened? NSO has released its data, and Indian economy has witnessed right now 7.1% growth rate. Again, economic revival. So by this example, you can understand that how repo rate is so sensitive towards the economic growth of the country. The growth is dependent on it. Is it okay? So now what has happened? So definitely when there is a growth rate, it means supply of money is there. So definitely it will increase what? Inflation. So controlling inflation is another activities of the government. So inflation not only controlled by monetary policies, inflation can be controlled by fiscal policy also. And that's why next generation GST reform. Government said that we are reducing our income, but maintaining growth rate is our top priority. तो गवर्नमेंट अपने इनकम को थोड़ा कम कर लेगी, और हम इसे कैसे दिखाएंगे? गिफ्ट टू दिवाली to the people of India, and we will propagate it, and we will encase in Bihar Chunav, because Chunav is there. Getting my point? So in India, economic decisions also taken according to the political influences. This is things happen. But as an economic student, you must have considered it, how things are happening. और देखो क्या important हो रहा है. अभी आज का मैं न्यूज देख रहा था. Do you know what is hot money? Hot money is a money which is invested by FIIs in Indian share market, और huge amount, bulk amount, आज के न्यूज़पेपर में देखना, वो फ्लो कर गया किधर? अमेरिका की तरफ, इंडियन शेयर मार्केट से, just because of reciprocal tariffs of USA and strongness of dollar. डॉलर और स्ट्रांग होगा, तो जितने इन्वेस्टर्स थे उन्हें लगता था कि इंडियन इकोनॉमी बूम कर रही है, तो अब टैरिफ लग गया, तो उनका ट्रस्ट क्या हो जाएगा? कम हो जाएगा यहाँ के शेयर मार्केट में. सो अपना पूरा बल्क अमाउंट, इसीलिए मैं कहता हूँ, और गवर्नमेंट भी चाहती है कि FII इज लेस स्टेबल देन FDI, बिकॉज FII क्या है? तो आप ये चीजें पढ़ रहे हो ना, तो जो हो रहा है उसको थोड़ा सा जस्ट मेक इट आई ऑन इट. ओके, जस्ट व्हाट इज. So you get this growth, employment, and what? Inflation. So 3 things are key component of fiscal policy. And one more thing, inflation is not reduced by monetary policy. It can reduce by fiscal policy also. Is it okay? And this is what? Lekho. Para change. Fiscal policy is known as public finance. Fiscal policy is also known as public finance, which means managing money from the people, that can be taxation, and for the people, subsidy. लिखो गवर्नमेंट इनकम ऑब्लिक रेसिट इधर एक्सपेंडिचर एक्सपेंडिचर्स। इनकम के दो पार्ट, रेवेन्यू एंड कैपिटल। हेडिंग में पॉइंट, रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर्स। इनकम के दो पार्ट, इनकम ऑब्लिक रेसिट इधर एक्सपेंडिचर एक्सपेंडिचर्स। इनकम के दो पार्ट, रेवेन्यू एंड कैपिटल। हेडिंग में पॉइंट, रेवेन्यू इनकम, revenue income and capital income. Revenue income is something, it's a good income, it's a bad income. Getting my point? As here, good income, which means no asset loss and no liability creation. Yeah, no need to repay. No liability creation, no asset loss, no need to repay, no liability creation. Is it okay? Just see. Revenue income has two parts. Tax revenue. Just see. Revenue income has two parts. Tax revenue, non-tax revenue. Tax revenue and non-tax revenue. Tax revenue has two parts. One is direct tax and one is indirect tax. Getting my point? Direct tax and indirect tax. Okay. Direct tax means which is imposed and levied at same destination, ना? Which cannot be transferred. Direct tax क्या होता है? Which cannot be transferred to another set. Like income tax, corporate tax. Income tax and corporate tax. These are the example of direct tax. Is it okay? Income tax imposed on your annual income, and that's why you submit ITR. Income tax रिटर्न। आप गवर्नमेंट को खुद बताते हो व्हाट कि I am the person of India, people of India, and this is what my income is. Sir, know this, and I am below your taxation assumptions that criteria. So I am not submitted any tax, but I am giving you the detail of my income. और जो उसके ऊपर आ रहा है, sir, I am above of it, and I am giving my this tax to you. Getting my point? मान लो गवर्नमेंट ने पहले से TDS काट के रखा हुआ है, तो sir, I am below your taxation system. Please return my money. That is called tax deduction and sources. ठीक है, समझाऊंगा, टैक्सेशन पढ़ाऊंगा, बट डायरेक्ट टैक्स समझ पाए? कॉर्पोरेशन टैक्स व्हाट इज दैट? इट इज अ टैक्स व्हिच इज इम्पोज्ड ऑन द कॉर्पोरेशंस एनुअल बेनिफिट्स, प्रॉफिट्स पे लगता है. इज इट ओके? इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स का एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जांपल क्या है? जीएसटी, गुड्स एंड कॉर्पोरेशंस एनुअल बेनिफिट्स, प्रॉफिट्स पे लगता है. इज इट ओके? इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स का एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जांपल क्या है? जीएसटी, गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज टैक्स. तो इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स इज टैक्स व्हिच कैन बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू अनदर सेट, which can be transferred to another set. It's a kind of tax which one is indirect tax. Getting my point? Direct tax and indirect tax. Okay. Direct tax means which is imposed and levied at same destination, ना? Which cannot be transferred. Direct tax क्या होता है? Which cannot be transferred to another set. Like income same destination, ना? Which cannot be transferred. Direct tax क्या होता है? Which cannot be transferred to another set. Like income tax, corporate tax. Income tax and corporate tax. These are the example of direct tax. Is it okay? Income tax imposed on your annual income, and that's why you submit ITR, income tax return. आप गवर्नमेंट को खुद बताते हो what कि I am the person of India, people of India, and this is what my income is. Sir, know this, and I'm below your taxation assumptions that criteria. So I'm not submitted any tax, but I'm giving the detail of my income. और जो उसके ऊपर आ रहा है, sir, I'm above of it, and I'm giving my this tax to you. Getting my point? मान लो गवर्नमेंट ने पहले से TDS काट के रखा हुआ है, तो sir, I'm below your taxation system. Please return my money. That is called tax deduction and sources. ठीक है, समझाऊंगा, टैक्सेशन पढ़ाऊंगा, बट डायरेक्ट समझ पाए? Corporation tax what is it? It is a tax which is imposed on the corporation's annual benefits, profits पे लगता है. Is it okay? Indirect tax का एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जांपल क्या है? GST, goods and services tax. तो indirect tax is tax which can be transferred to another set. Which can be transferred to another set. It's a kind of tax which can be transferred to another. जैसे भी इसके सिगार आप खुद हुए हैं, आपने फीस प्लस GST भरा है, okay? So GST was imposed on our institution. We have successfully transferred to your hand. That's why you are customer. Trust से मार. Is it okay? So मैं ऐसा नहीं, हम लोगों ने जानबूझ के हम सिंगल वन. It's a system. For example, whatever you purchase, right now you are purchasing knowledge service. So whatever you purchase any kind of service. For example, you have taken a hospitality service, or like you have gone to the hotel, so there will be GST. So that GST has been imposed on that hotel, but it is transferred to you. So tax revenue पे आता है, GST नहीं पड़ता है ना, tax revenue. So direct tax and indirect. So if government has tax, it cannot be returned, and it does not generate any kind of liability. Low non-tax revenue. Revenue income तो है लेकिन tax नहीं है. Non-tax revenue. These are the revenue income, but not tax. Like what? Fee. अब fee भरते हो तो वापस मांग लेते हो क्या गवर्नमेंट से? नहीं ना. Fee. And it is not tax, so that's why it is non-tax revenue. Fee. Fine. किसका fine हुआ अब तक? Raise your hands. While driving. एक. अच्छा. Good. Third. Dividend of PSUs. Dividend of PSUs. Dividend of PSUs. Like what? Dividend of PSUs, like there are several PSUs, public sector undertakings, like NTPC, ONGC, SAIL, BAIL, GAIL, IOIL, भाई कई हैं. So whatever the profit made, they are government companies. That profit will be gone to government. So it will be government's income. For that purpose, government is not losing any assets, and it is not a kind of creating any kind of liability to the government, and it is not tax also. So it will held there. Where? Non-tax revenue. Another. Just see that interest interest generated by loans. Suppose Indian government has given money to Bangladesh and Bangladesh has not done total repay of borrowings. They have just given interest to the India and principal amount is with Bangladesh. So this is kind of income of the government which is non-tax revenue, because government of India is not, the government is not losing any assets and it is not creating any liability to the government. Getting my point? So interest, whatever interest we have given to some others, लिखना नहीं है, ठीक है? So it will be there. Next, लिखो. Income of railways income. Income of railways. So government has monopoly in railway? Yes or no? So whatever income will be generated will be the part of government. Next, income generated by advertisement of Doordarshan and All India Radio. Income generated by the advertisement of Doordarshan and All India Radio. Doordarshan and All India Radio. Okay. Doordarshan and All India Radio. Next, income या rent from government assets. Rent from government assets. जो गवर्नमेंट ने कोई लीज पे दे रखा है, कुछ इस तरह की चीजें हो रही हैं, तो वो आएगा. Next, auction of spectrums. Auction of spectrums. Okay. So government do the auction of spectrum 2G, 3G, 5G. You know what is 5G? 5th generation. So all the spectrums, whatever we use in the internet. Okay. So government does this auctions for the companies. And right now 5G. In 5G auction, Jio has earned it with payment of 45,000 crore rupees. So now any company who want to give a supply of 5G networks, they have to purchase it from Jio because government has sold it to Jio. So by this process, government gets income, and that's why mobile companies charge us 1 GB, 2 GB, 3 GB like this. And notice 3G, 4G means 5G means 5th generation. In science tech, that sir will tell you. Okay, what is 5th generation? Okay, in science tech he will let you know. Okay, so G means generation. Okay, this is all. Last, the grants from international organizations. Grants from international organizations. Grants from international organizations. Grants from international organizations. Like, do you know what is grant? I've let you know, told you what is grant and everything. Okay. So IMF, World Bank are providing money to the government. So it is not any kind of liability to the government. Okay. And what will the government do? The government will definitely what? Keep it in non-tax revenue. So this is what revenue income. Let's come to capital. Go capital income. What is capital income? Just see. Capital income has two parts. Capital income is a bad income. Either it will loss of assets or generates creation of liability. Loss of assets and creation of liability. Loss of assets and creation of liability. Is it okay? So loss of asset में क्या हो जाएगा? Disinvestment. Disinvestment. Okay, it is also called privatization. Disinvestment is also called as non-debt capital receipt. Non-debt capital receipt.
Yes, it is not debt because it is need to reply. Yes, liability generate तो नहीं कर रही है. Next, why I'm focusing this word? Because UPSC asks these words. They don't ask, disinvestment. They ask like this. And what is borrowings? लिखो. Borrowings and other liabilities. Borrowings and other liabilities. Market borrowings. So market borrowings has two parts: internal and external. In internal borrowings, who gives money to India government is called RBI, which is called WMA, wage, means and advances. Okay. External में क्या आ जाएगा? External is like this: IMF, World Bank, called W. In internal borrowings, who gives money to India government is called RBI, which is called WMA, wage, means and advances. Okay. External में क्या आ जाएगा? External is like this: IMF, World Bank, developed economy. Okay. Economy, other liabilities में आ जाओ. Other liability, it is also called public debt. Public debt. Other liability is also called public debt. Like what? Yes, T-bills. Okay. Other liability. Internal borrowings, who gives money to India? Market borrowings. So market borrowings has two parts: internal and external. In internal borrowings, who gives money to India government is called RBI, which is called WMA, wage, means and advances. Okay. External में क्या आ जाएगा? External is like this: IMF, World Bank, developed economy. Okay. Wage, means and advances. Okay. External में क्या आ जाएगा? External is like this: IMF, World Bank, developed economy. Okay. Economy, other liabilities में आ जाओ. Other liability, it is also called public debt. Public debt. Other liability is also called public debt. Like what? Yes, T-bills. Okay. T-bill is purchased by the public. It public asset and government's liabilities like what? Bonds. Next, no, debentures is not issued by the government, na? It is talking about government, na? T-bill, bonds, PF, Provident Fund. What is Provident Fund? Provident Fund is a kind of government employees money जो हर मंथली डिडक्ट होता है. किसके पास जाता है? गवर्नमेंट के पास जाता है. और जब वो गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय रिटायर्ड होता है तो उसके पास साथ में आता है. सो प्रोविडेंट फंड इज एम्प्लॉयज एसेट एंड गवर्नमेंट्स लायबिलिटीज. पीएफ. ओके, आपने देखा होगा रिटायरमेंट में खूब पैसा मिलता है, तो गवर्नमेंट का पैसा थोड़ी होता है, वो एम्प्लॉय का ही पैसा होता है. हर मंथ डिडक्ट हो करके एक पीएफ अकाउंट होता है, वहां जाता है और इंटरेस्ट के साथ वापस आता है. तो 30 इयर्स की सर्विस में आप ठीक ठाक सेविंग कर लेते हैं, आपको एहसास भी नहीं होता है, और वो बाद में काम आता है उसके रिटायरमेंट के बाद. इज इट ओके? दिस इज व्हाट. ठीक है, प्रोविडेंट फंड, पीएफ. नेक्स्ट, सुकन्या. समृद्धि योजना. सुकन्या समृद्धि योजना. सुकन्या समृद्धि योजना क्या है? बिटिया 0 से 11 तक की है, तो हर साल 1.5 लाख रुपीस आप जमा कर सकते हो. और बिटिया जब 21 साल की होगी, 15 साल तक जमा करना है, 15 ईयर्स तक. 21 को होगी तो अराउंड 70 लाख रुपीस उससे मिलेंगे, मिल लेवल के पूरा. दिस इज व्हाट. सो आप ये पैसा गवर्नमेंट को दे रहे हो ना, तो योर एसेट गवर्नमेंट्स लायबिलिटीज. नेक्स्ट, पोस्ट ऑफिस सेविंग्स. Post office saving. You deposited your money post office. It's your asset and government's liability because post office is owned by government. Next, लिखो NSC. Again, National Saving Certificates. Next, Atal Pension. Atal Pension Yojana. Next, Kishan Vikas Patra. It's a kind of book which is purchased by the farmer from the district, or after schedule paid by government उसे repay करती है. It is like something हम government से खरीदते हैं, कैश दे दिया. किसान विकास पत्र आपके साइज ऑफ लैंड के हिसाब से मिलता है, जितना खेत हो उसके हिसाब से आप कुछ कैश दे दो या बुक ले लो, और आफ्टर ए सर्टेन पीरियड ऑफ टाइम व्हेन यू रीपे दिस बुक, गवर्नमेंट विल गिव यू द मनी. ये फार्मर्स को बेनिफिट देने के लिए शुरू किया गया गवर्नमेंट का. डू यू गेट दिस? इनकम ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. तो एक्सपेंडिचर कल देखे, बोलो. दो इनकम देखा हमने, कौन कौन? रेवेन्यू एंड कैपिटल इनकम. चलो ओके, कल डेफिसिट देखेंगे. चलो, थैंक यू. रेवेन्यू, रेवेन्यू इनकम तो है लेकिन टैक्स नहीं है, नॉन टैक्स रेवेन्यू.
फिस्कल पॉलिसी पढ़ रहे थे हम लोग ना. फिस्कल पॉलिसी कंटेन्स थ्री थिंग्स. दीज आर, बहुत बड़े, ये बेसिक चीज याद रखनी है. एक्सपेंडिचर, इनकम एंड डेफिसिट. इज इट ओके? गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर है टू टाइप्स. वन इज गुड इनकम एंड सेकंड इज
bad income.
गुड इनकम इज कॉल्ड रेवेन्यू इनकम एंड बैड इनकम इज कॉल्ड
Capital income.
capital income. Is it okay? Good. Then revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. Revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. And now we will discuss about. वो चार्ट बनाते हैं, हेल्प करो मेरी थोड़ी. the government
So guys, bye bye. So bye guys, it's time to end today's class. From tomorrow we will just be regular and be on time. So the first session I will start near about 12 o'clock. So be ready and be on time. See you tomorrow. Have a good day and good night. Happy sweet dreams. Bye bye.